Have you ever wanted to start your own business and be able to build a business that can generate passive income? If you are, the business idea that we're sharing today does just that. I especially like this idea because it has high growth opportunity. You can do it from anywhere. You don't have to quit your job right now to make it work. You could, make it be your side hustle, and it requires low startup cost. It means it's not going to cost you $100,000, $500,000, $1 million plus to start. To start off with for our podcast is, my name is John Bradshaw, and I have started several companies. This is an idea that I was thinking of strongly, and so let's talk about what this idea is. I think the online space for yoga, or maybe even you could expand this idea to exercising in general, is extremely appealing. I'm not a yogi, I'm a wannabe yogi, and I think there's a bunch of people in that space that are interested in it. I think the challenge that you face is that there's basically two big categories of content. You have YouTube on one side, that you have a bunch of people who are creating a bunch of YouTube videos that you might follow and subscribe. When I wake up every morning, and so here's the quick the 2-minute idea. When I wake up every morning, I basically say, I want to do a workout. I don't want to have to think about what that workout is, and I want something very tailored to me. So for example, and some days I may get up and I say, I've got 45 minutes to exercise. And some days I may get up and say, I just want 10 minutes to exercise. And from a goal standpoint, having something that's already predefined for me is super valuable. So what the idea is you basically give people a few different options for yoga, and you could even, again, do this for other types of exercise. You could say every morning, there are people who want to get up who only want to do a 5 or 10 minute exercise routine. Some people want to do 25 or 30. Some want to do 45, 60, or 90. So you have a bunch of these things. I myself, when I'm busy or if I'm just starting to work out doing yoga, I can't do a 90-minute routine. And Alo Moves has a bunch of 90-minute routines. But if I could go to a site that says, hey, I want to do a 10-minute routine every day when I wake up, that's what I want. It doesn't exist. So on my site, and then I'll explain how to market and grow, is I would come through and I would pick a few options that are first, and I would make it free at first, but say, hey, here's a 5 or 10 minute daily yoga routine, and give people an email in their inbox every day. They wake up, it's 6 a.m., they have an email that says, here's your 5-minute routine, and in it you might say, here's a 10, 15, or 20-minute routine, and I would only focus on that. But if you did that, you would build the following. The hardest part about this is that most people, they wake up and they can't commit to an idea day after day after day. If you look at famous YouTubers, for example, like a Logan Paul, for example, that you guys might be familiar with, or like David Dobrik, he's probably more of my favorite. He made it. The difference between making it and breaking it is he was on a consistent basis was able to create 3 videos every week for 2 years. For the first year or two, he probably made nothing, but he had a vision and he started doing that. And so in your case, if you said, hey, I like this idea, I'm going to run with it. If you start just creating 5, 10, 15, 20-minute daily yoga routines for people on a regular basis, people would start subscribing. If you're creating good content, if you're lucky, Google's going to pick that up. And again, in the search volumes here, you're going to see, you might be able to rank and have Google show you to people. But let's talk about how to actually market this, and then we'll talk about how to make money. Step 1 is I would pick 2 or 3 options, or even 1, and I would say I'm going to do workout routines 3 times a week, or I recommend daily, or whatever your routine is that you're going to recommend. And this is something that you do yourself. Second, make sure you use something like MailChimp or Aweber, where you have a website, a simple website with Squarespace, and you're sending out daily routines. Now the trick here, and this is how I would grow it, is I would publish all this content for free on YouTube and forget about making money for the first 6, 12, or 24 months. Just say for the next year or the next 2 years, I'm going to create 3 videos a week, and you're going to start building a following. And your first videos are going to suck, and that's okay. It's totally fine. But what happens that on the left side of this market of all these yogis is most people aren't creating content on a high frequency basis. Adrienne Yoga, for example, I love her content, but she only typically publishes a video every once or twice a month. But if you look at her growth numbers, once a year she'll do, typically every January, a 30-day program every day. And at that point, she gets a ton of new subscribers because she's giving people this constant daily goal for a yoga routine. And if you did that on a regular basis, the way that YouTube would reward you is YouTube ultimately wants high quality original content. And if you've got one yogi who's creating video content once every 2 weeks or less, and you're creating a video every single day, you're eventually going to get a lot more watch time than they ever would. So now what's going to happen is you build this business, you're going to be building a following. And eventually these people that you've started with and you've trained, they're eventually going to say, hey, I'm ready for a 45, 60, or 90-minute routine. Now what's going to happen is there's different tools out there that you can then start selling subscriptions for. You could sell subscriptions through something like WordPress, different tools like WooCommerce or Kajabi, or there's a few others that we're going to list here that will allow you to have basically a payment gateway. So what a payment gateway is when someone comes, you send them an email that says, here's your 5-minute yoga routine. You're going to say, hey, when you're ready to start making money, you're going to say, hey, here's the 45 daily yoga routine. And this is when you've started to build a team. At that point, they're going to see that 45-minute program, and someone's going to click on it and say, hey, and instead of publishing this content on YouTube, you can publish this content privately on your website. And what's going to happen is, as I get better and as I do yoga more frequently, and as you're providing original daily content every day, I'm going to want to transfer and I'm going to want to move to this business. I'm going to want to pay you 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks a month, whatever it is, to be part of your club. And so what happens is you start going where you get, to make $4,000 a month, all you need is 400 people paying you $10 a month. And that would give you enough income to probably quit your current job or more than what you're currently making to go and start it yourself. So that's the high level idea, is I would create yoga content on a daily basis where it's a customized routine every day or 3 times a week if that's easier for you, whatever you can actually do and stick to it. And then you can start building a following. So you don't need to go buy a ton of camera gear. You can probably use it on your phone. You can use iMovie to edit for free. If you don't have a laptop, these days you could probably just edit on your phone regardless. And so this model is extremely low cost. The thing that's ultimately going to make it or break it for you is, can you get up every morning and say, I need to create content for the next day? And it will be tricky because sometimes your friends are going to say, let's go watch movies. And if you break, the problem is if you break this model, you're going to fail. If you don't publish on a regular basis, people are going to get out of habit and they're eventually going to leave, and then you're going to lose. And so the critical part is pick something that you can tell people that you can stick to and do it on a regular basis. Okay, everyone, so this is the Business Idea Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe below. If you've got questions about this idea, I'd love to answer them for you. Just comment below. Subscribe here on YouTube if you want to see more content on a regular basis, or go to newbusinessideas.com if you want to check out our website and get more free content.